5, 6, 7, 8.
Spotlight.
On stage at MMT.
Spotlight.
I meet the cast, crew, and company.
Spotlight.
Sit back, on stage
relax, and
tonight.
Spotlight on stage at
MMT. Welcome back to Spotlight on Stage. This afternoon, we've got Jill and Lauren, and we will let them introduce themselves to you.
Hi, I'm Lauren, otherwise known as Brader.
And I'm Jill. Used to be Polina, now Gibilisco.
Okay, so the first question is, let's discuss how long you've been performing with us. So I guess the question really is just let everyone at home know, in case they don't know, how you know us and perhaps where we have met. That kind of takes us back to how long we've been performing together. And then like maybe your first show at what was the park or here. Again, it's a long history with these two. So I guess delve into whatever you want to.
I'll start. Do I talk about Brader too? Since she's here on the carpet,
here.
on the red carpet? Okay, well, first off, I met Lewis. It was a balmy day on July 23rd, 1983. No, seriously though, I've known him my whole life as he is my older brother.
Not husband.
Not husband. There are some pretty interesting websites though if you go look us up. But yeah, so I've known my brother my whole life. Pretty much followed his footsteps here to Bucks County. We both went to the same performing arts high school. Did lots of dances and choreography in our living room. So pretty much my whole life I have known my brother, which is a good thing. As far as Jordan, let's see, we met sophomore year, fall of our sophomore year of high school, which was 1990 something.
2016,
2000, yeah, I think it was just last year. Like 1998, maybe. We graduated, oh my gosh, it's going to be 20 years we've been out of high school. We graduated 2001, so you do the math, sophomore year. We were in the back row of, what was it, Lullaby at Broadway and 42nd Street at the Bucks County Playhouse, and we were best friends as soon as we met. So we've been best friends since. And yeah, I've had the pleasure of also performing with him for many years in many companies and many good shows and bad shows alike. Usually never dance partnered with him because he always got the better dancers.
Except for West Side Story.
Except for West Side Story. Same thing with my brother. Never partnered with him. Except for Footloose when we played Rusty and Willard. So that was awkward. Brader, I also met at the Bucks County Playhouse. Godspell. We thought she was very quiet. And now she turned out to be like a third sister.
Won't shut up. Yeah.
You won't, yeah. Now we can't get rid of you. But yeah, so I don't remember when that was. Early 2000s, 2003 or 4 maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a while for us too.
It has been.
Yeah. Just long, old people sitting here.
Long, old.
That's
I
me.
think, yeah. Well, Jill kind of already started me off. I mean, I met this crew at the Bucks County Playhouse. Timeline. Gosh, I don't even know.
So the three of us were in Godspell, but you were not in Godspell,
No, I was still in
correct?
school then.
So what's the first thing that you guys did together?
42nd? No.
Yeah, maybe 42nd
42nd
Street
Street?
Summer, Millie,
Yeah.
Pippin year.
Yeah.
Brader and I shared a dressing room, a very small dressing room
We
at
sure
the
did.
Playhouse for a long time.
Yeah.
Many
They
years.
chose to separate themselves from everyone else.
It was also the coveted place. Everyone wanted to be in there, and we were very elite. We were like, no. No, you can't. No, you can't.
You were elite.
So the next question kind of pertains to your performance experience outside of open air or MMT. We've mentioned that we all kind of met and worked together for quite some time at the Bucks County Playhouse when it was still a non-equity performing venue. So why don't you kind of elaborate on that or on any other performance experiences that you've had?
Okay, I'll start this one off. Yeah, okay, now it's going to be hard for me to sit back and remember. I think after I graduated school, or even while I was still at school, I think every summer I would do something like regional theater. So I went to school at Drew University, and I did a lot in their performing arts program undergrad. So like over the summers, I would do a lot at Princeton University had, a theater on their campus, so I would do their summer season. I also did a lot at Off Broad Street Theater and did a couple of readings in New York here and there. And then, I kind of got settled into, the Bucks County Company, and I kind of stuck with that until, we transitioned to open air and did things there. So I'd say that's probably my theatrical career outside of this venue.
Yeah, I started as a company member at the Playhouse the day after I graduated high school. So I was there for a long, long time. Because it did, I mean, you said two words that kind of stuck with me. You said settled and stuck. And I mean, we all had so much fun at the Playhouse. We met so many people. Majority of our friends that we are, really lifelong friends with have been people we met at the Playhouse. But sometimes it did have that feeling of stuck and settled. But it was also amazing because I felt I had this dream job and I was so young. And, I turned down a first national tour of Seussical because I was playing fiddler, up in the Pocono Playhouse. That's how much I loved it and how much I didn't know Seussical. But yeah, I mean, it became like family. So that was awesome. So yeah, so I did the Bucks County Playhouse. I did a couple shows with some friends that I met at the Bucks County Playhouse that started their own theater company up in the Poconos, Theatrical Gems. So I did a few shows for them. And then I also did a short stint on a cruise ship that was out of Palm Beach, Florida. And my crewmate and cast member was also Devin Miller, who you've probably seen on this stage. So yeah, so that was fun. Other than that, yeah, then I just kind of segued right into open air, which is now this beautiful Music Mountain Theater that you see, and that's pretty much it for me.
Will you tell everyone at home, in case they don't know, what you do in a typical year when you're not performing? I guess you can talk about maybe what you did this past year during COVID, or what you're doing.
What
now.
you do for a
What
living.
you do for a living. If there have been any big life changes this year, Jill, we'll start with you.
I can't think of anything that happened in 2020. No, I just had a baby 7 months ago, so that's a huge life change and an amazing one. I was actually just saying in the parking lot, I am blessed to have an amazing baby who sleeps 11 to 12 hours a night and eats everything and is the smiliest, happiest baby you've ever met. So that's amazing. Usually, I had a really awesome career that I loved. Many of you might have known working in the live music industry, which has also taken a hit just as Broadway has. Hoping that we can all support each other and get back to what we all love to do, because there are a lot of people that are struggling right now, myself included, not struggling, but I'm super, very sad that my dream career has just kind of up and vanished. I'm actually going to real estate school, guys. Keep that in mind. Hopefully, if I pass exams, maybe you can hire me and get some money. But yeah, I mean, I have a great family. I have a very tight-knit group of friends. they're all sitting right here, pretty much. And yeah, great husband and a great baby. So I just pretty much fill my time with everything that you bring to the table. I don't know.
Well, professionally, I work as a licensed professional counselor. I've been doing that, maybe seven years. And I do work through a hospital. I work with trauma survivors, so it's a day typically. So that's part of the reason why theater has kind of been a refuge for me. That's my emotional outlet. That's my creative outlet. I'd say since the start of the pandemic, we have gone virtual, which has been challenging, and certainly, it's hard to kind of go along in this process of seeing others struggle while I'm, living that, reality too. So that certainly has been a difficulty, and even just having, the theater up and running the past couple months has been a blessing, because I've been able to utilize that experience as a way to kind of channel, all the repressed, emotional energy that I think has kind of been trapped in this virtual experience. So I'm very thankful to that, and I'm hoping for many more months of that until we're back live. Fingers crossed.
The next question, we're going to switch gears back to kind of on-stage stuff. So we want to ask you to tell the people at home watching some of your favorite performance experiences, whether it be a role or show for whatever reason. Just some that stand out for you in a positive way, certainly, whether it be at open air or here at MMT.
It's a hard one. There's a long history of those. I mean, one thing that I love. Sorry, my husband's going to yell at me when he watches this because he says I sit like this. I was blessed to play Joe March 3 times in Little Women. Was it here? Oh, yeah. It was once at the Playhouse. That was the first time, Bucks County Playhouse. Then at the Open Air Theater, and then at Music Mountain Theater. And that was actually, that's probably, I don't know, I really enjoyed that because it hit 3 different parts of my life. And, you know, it's a very emotional show. It's a very family-driven, female-driven, you know, goal-oriented driven show and role. And just to hit that show and those songs and that subject matter at such specific parts in my life that were completely different was just something that, like, when I look back, I'm like, oh, like every time I visit that music, I can like tell you what journey I was going through with each of those performances. And I don't know, I just think that's, you know, you usually don't really get to repeat a role that you love. So for that one to be, you know, a hard role, even vocally, like just visiting that, you know, in the different times, I was stronger, I was, you know, different, or so it's just kind of fun because it really kind of focuses the change that everyone goes through and how life really goes on. Even when you're going through something tough, you know, you can revisit it a year from now or 10 years from now, and you'll be in a completely different place and you will have gotten through it. So that's something that I do always think about. And when I hear that music, it literally brings me right back to each journey.
Yeah, that was a great show.
Thanks.
You were great in that show.
Thanks. So are you, babe.
This is a hard one, honestly. I think for me, I'm more drawn to the work that challenges me. And even if it's a really small role, like, you know, I think back to, you know, a couple character parts that I've had here and there that, you know, either made me, you know, explore different emotional sides of myself or, you know, explore different accents or try and, you know, address my tapping challenges. All of those things are takeaways for me. I'd say performance-wise specifically, I mean, I'll always have a soft place in my heart for Mrs. Lovett and Sweeney Todd because, you know, I like the dark stuff. Anything that really, you know, is terrifying or emotionally, like, draining, that's me.
You're just so good at it.
I don't know that it's that, like, but, you know, again, kind of coming back to that idea that I use it as a way to channel what I'm really dealing with emotionally. I find that I tend to be drawn towards those roles that I can really let it out. Sorry, everyone. You have to watch it. But so I'd say Mrs. Lovett for sure. Of course, I've had some amazing opportunities to do some incredible play work. So The Bad Seed, Wait Until Dark. They've been very challenging on my body, but I'd say emotionally and as a performer, they've really helped me grow. And, you know, anytime I have an opportunity to work in an ensemble, I'm also pretty drawn to that. So, you know, Godspell, you know, just an opportunity to connect, to learn from my cohort is also just things that I think would be standout performances for me.
And I have to bring up that both of you were part of the cast of Steel Magnolias, 6 strong females, and the all-female production of Jesus Christ Superstar. So I don't know if you wanted to talk about either of those experiences, being kind of the strong female roles, or what the process was like. We talked about Superstar a few other times throughout these interviews, so if anyone has been watching each one, this was our Jesus and Pontius Pilate.
I do have to say, being opposite you in that show was pretty scary. Like, you scared the crap out of me. There were times where I was like, "Ooh, I don't know if this is Brader yelling at me or if this is Pilot yelling at me."
It was Pilot. I wasn't really there. I wouldn't really yell at Jill.
Woo! That was scary. Superstar was actually pretty awesome. It was awesome to have an all-female cast. I know personally, I grew up with the show from when I was this big. Watched the movie, would go see touring companies, watched my brother numerous times. And the cool thing about it, I still am a huge Superstar fan. It's one of those recordings you can just put on and literally just go through and not have to skip one song. But I always did dislike the fact that there was just nothing for girls to do, women to do. I've been in the show a lot. I got to play a maid by the fire, I think, once. And that's it. Unless you're married, there's really no opportunity. You can dance. There were, Lewis had added, well, not added, but he put in, sometimes productions don't have them, but what were they, the Soul Sisters or Temptresses? And that was really cool. That was pretty cool way of just highlighting more females. So when I heard they were doing an all-female cast, I mean, like I said, I'd been singing the show since I was 7, and it was just really interesting. It was very challenging. Challenging, I think, because we were all looked upon to be like, some people change it to be modern, some people keep it very traditional, and we were already kind of pushing the limit and then pushing the limit again. So people were just like, either they were coming to see it because they were curious, or they were coming to see it just because they wanted to judge how poorly, females could do this, or what are they going to do to try to make this work. And I think it put a lot of pressure on us, I think. But it also pushed us to be like, I don't know, like for me, I think I thought way more out of the box than I usually do because I wanted it to be so good. And vocally, it was very challenging because we couldn't change the keys. So you either had to figure out how you were going to fit it in, or flip up, or take it down. And I think that was also a huge challenge. You'd see a couple of us just sitting there, like trying stuff out, like, ugh, is this going to be too high? Is this going to be too low? But it was awesome.
So on the back end of that, on the technical end of that, when we applied for the rights to that show for Richard Emilius, he had done the concert version in New York, I think the year before maybe. When we applied for the rights, the licensing companies are sometimes very specific as to what you can do with the show and what you cannot do with the show. They approved us to do this show with an all-female cast. The stipulations were that we could not change, obviously names, the character names. We couldn't change the pronouns, I believe, within the show, and we couldn't change any of the keys. So, like Jill was just saying, you had to choose as a female vocalist where you were going to place that song. It was written for a male voice, most of the score. Yeah. So
you pretty much had to color each thing you sang the way it fit for you. Yeah. Like you couldn't listen to a recording and be like, "Oh, I like what that person did," because it might not be in your range. Very interesting and a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to give a moment for Jill here because I think stepping into a role like Jesus, where there has been such a strong male presence, and I think it's been portrayed so many times. Talk about a challenge, and I think performance-wise and vocally, I think it really takes I think a lot of bravery to approach that.
You're awesome. I've learned everything acting-wise from her. Just so let's put it out there from watching this one.
I just want to take a moment for that because I think that it's pretty courageous to step out of the norm and be the first one, at least I know, that's done it. So, and of course she took it and owned it.
Shut it, but
like
thank
she
you.
does. In terms of Pilot, I have to. That was the first time I had ever seen Superstar, and the first time I had ever done it. So, I mean, I'd heard the music. I loved the soundtrack. I like to pretend I was one of the priests, in my car, singing it. Which I clearly was, couldn't match those notes. But for me, I reveled in the challenge to try and make Pilot someone relatable. So I wanted to try and do something a little bit different, at least from my understanding of who Pilot was, and at least all the doctrines that, I kind of, he's really been painted as this villain, and, I wanted to show the nuances to him. So that was a theatrical challenge for me, and, something that I really reveled in, and I actually I really related to Pilot, honestly, a lot, and really learned a lot from the character and from the work. And yeah, I think certainly it kind of took me back, and I kind of, now have a different perspective, of that story and, the different characters within it, seeing it portrayed by women.
Yeah, that was a really, again, we've spoken about this a few times now, and I think it just had a very strong impact on those certainly who were in it and a part of it that way, and those of us who saw it and saw a show that maybe we had seen before, but saw it in a completely new and different and much more relatable way. So hopefully we can continue to bring you guys that sort of theater. The next question that we have for you is along the same lines, but what shows have you seen either here or at the park that you were not a part of from a performance standpoint that you enjoyed or that stood out for one reason or another?
I feel like everything I've seen, if I'm not, I try to go see everything. And I don't know. I have to really think. I'm trying to think of shows that I saw that I was like, ooh, I wish I was in that one, which is probably majority of the ones I've seen. I don't know. I'm like going through the Rolodex of shows. I'm like, quick.
Blanking here. Maybe Seussical. I mean, and at least for me, I had an experience doing Seussical back at the
Bird
Bucks County-
Girl.
yes, Bird Girl number 3, back at Bucks County Playhouse. So, I mean, it just brought up a lot of fond memories, and again, the ensemble component. It was a very cohesive show and a beautiful show. So, perhaps that.
I would like to. I think a lot of the plays I see too. I like to watch and learn, and I don't really get to be in a lot of plays. So, and I don't know if you know this, but I'm super intimidated by them. So when I get a chance to do it, I love watching people in it because I like to pick up on what they do, or like, oh, I didn't even think that you could do something like that. Like, it really just helps to broaden my acting by watching people I admire acting, like yourself, my love. So, BFF.
Next question is, give us a show that you would like to see us do here at MMT that we have not yet produced.
There's so many. At MMT, okay. I mean, I love Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh yeah.
Just gonna throw it out there. What else? I love Hello Dolly. That would be
City
a
of
great one.
Angels.
City of
love
Angels.
that show.
Yes, yes. I don't know.
That's good. We'll add them to the list.
Okay.
Yeah. And the next question is kind of a different one for everyone, a different answer, but kind of all usually around the same theme. Brader kind of touched upon this earlier, but why do you perform? What do you get out of it? We don't pay anybody here, so you dedicate your time for free. You put in the time outside of this building, and you still come back. So what do you personally get out of it that helps you?
I guess I'll start since I kind of said it. Again, I think for me, it's certainly the emotional outlet, the ability to find an opportunity to creatively use my craft. I used to really relish, having opportunities, and this used to come up a lot for me at the Playhouse, and even here. I always kind of used it as like a little benchmark for myself. If I could walk out the door and have nobody know I was in the show. So if I, allowed myself to like transform myself to that degree that no one, knew I was there, I was like, okay, I'm meeting that individual goal. So it's very personal for me, and just a way to let out my emotions.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like it's a good outlet for anything you're going through. You kind of get to step away from your own life for a little bit, and you have another focus, whether it's lines or choreography or lyrics or how am I going to place this note. Like, it just kind of like takes everything that you, like your everyday stresses, everything that kind of can weigh you down, and it just kind of puts you in another place for a minute where maybe your old life kind of just stopped for a minute, and you just get to kind of be somebody else, or focus on something else. And while you're in rehearsal, or while you're on stage for those 2 hours, that's your main goal, is just to think about that. and that helps me a lot. Also, I just feel it's just brought me a lot of enjoyment. So I feel like it's something that brings me back to me, which I feel like we lose in jobs and relationships, and it's just something that's, you know, I talk to my husband about this all the time, but it's something that you have that's yours, that's very personal to you, and you need to do it because whatever it means for you, you don't want to lose that. So, I don't know. Makes me feel good.
And of course, as we've mentioned for other people, we just want to mention a few things, obviously, that have stood out over the years from a role perspective, most of which you guys have already mentioned, but Wait Until Dark and The Bad Seed, you know, we'd seen you do that role in Wait Until Dark at, I think it was off Broad Street,
Yeah.
is that correct? And that's kind of what prompted us to put it on the schedule, so you could kind of revisit that, and so our audiences could get to see you do that. And The Bad Seed was such kind of a weird little anomaly. It's something that we had always wanted to do, and it definitely has name recognition. There was an old movie, but it was so stylized and so different and dark, and you and Cameron were so great in that together. So that was fun. And of course, you know, Mrs. Lovett is always a standout. And then Jill, you mentioned Joe March, and I mean, we can't not mention Gertrude McFuzzer, the narrator, and Joseph, which are kind of like staples of yours. So, you know, thank you to both of you for doing that. And both have been a part of Rocky Horror, and we all four of us were together in Fruitcakes. So we've gotten the opportunities.
The YouTube series, the YouTube hit series,
Yes.
Murder at
Oh,
Cheltenham Manor.
yes.
Oh,
Soon to be on
Cheltenham.
stage.
Which, yeah, maybe by
Chelsea.
the time that this episode airs, we
Might be in. I don't think so.
No.
Not yet.
But within maybe the next couple of weeks, check out tickets on sale for the stage version of Murder at Cheltenham Manor.
And if you ever need a dialect coach, send her all my scripts, and then she sent it back to me.
So now we're going to switch gears to the Inside the Actor Studio questions. So we're just going to ask you a series of questions, and we just want you to answer the first thing that comes to your mind, and we'll rotate with who starts first. Go ahead, Jordan, take it away.
All right, Jill, you're first.
Oh man.
What is your favorite musical?
Ooh, why did Legally Blonde just come in my head? Ooh, sorry. It's true.
Favorite musical.
Can you think about it?
You can think about it.
Oh, wait, I'm going to take mine back.
Yeah, okay. I just gotta go with first My Fair Lady.
No, it's fine. Just give me. I'll keep Legally Blonde.
Then what's your least favorite musical?
Ooh.
Big.
Big.
The musical.
We
Wait.
mentioned Big during one of the other interviews, so I think it's aired by now. Libby was talking about how that was her first show with us at the park. And
Oh,
how,
that's right.
Yeah. But you
Hopefully
were
not
one
her
of
favorite.
Susan's
'cause-
friends
okay, good. I was one of Susan's
at
friends.
my house, yeah.
Oh, God, I don't know. I want to say American Idiot. And I'm a huge Green Day fan, but when I saw the show, I didn't know what I was watching. Yeah.
Well, maybe one day when we get to do that show,
Yeah.
you'll know what you're watching.
I like the old schools more than the newers. I'll put that out there.
again, reflecting on Joan
Yeah.
Hoffman's interview, she didn't want to mention a specific show, but she said she doesn't like most of the contemporary ones
Yeah.
where they're so depressed that
She
they
tends
don't-
to like
yeah.
the more
She wants to be
classical.
happy when she goes.
I'd
to
watch
see
Hello Dolly like 10 times over like something that was on Broadway.
Okay, so next question, and we'll start with Brader this time. What sound or noise do you love?
Sound or noise I love. Probably like a baby laughing.
You stole mine. I was going to say that's an easy one, but
Jill's baby laughing.
My
You can
God,
have
my
the
baby is
same
the
answer.
best.
That's fine.
yeah, my Louis laugh, yes.
And then Brader again. What sound or noise do you hate?
Oh, probably like chalk on a chalkboard is
That's
unpleasant.
annoying.
Yeah, mine's like teeth on metal, like when you're eating, you scrape.
Maybe it's teeth on metal then chalk on a chalk.
All right. What is your favorite word?
Cornucopia. I don't know why. I don't know why.
It's a good word.
But I just love it.
I like calliope. I just think it's pretty.
It's a good word.
Calliope.
All right. Then what's your least favorite words?
Isn't yours moist?
No, that's my sister.
Okay. Sorry.
One of my sisters. Not that I love that word, but it's not my least favorite.
Jill's so
It
offended.
is Jill's most favorite word. Least favorite.
I'm gonna put a shout out to my my sibling-in-laws, but they always talk about, and it's a joke between them, but they say fiduciary responsibility a lot. And now that I'm in real estate school, I'm studying fiduciary, so there's a lot in my head. I don't know why. There's just something about the word. It's like the F, like I don't like it.
I don't know. Maybe lavatory.
Okay.
Wait, a lab or a lav?
A lavatory.
Like a
Yeah.
bathroom.
There's a backstory to that, but I won't tell the group. But lavatory.
And you can speak freely on this next one. We will bleep you out. But what is your curse word of choice?
I won't say it, but I type it EFF.
And she does text it.
I do. I pepper it into like pretty much all of my sentences.
What the F?
Yeah.
EFF.
Sorry for no. Not sorry for anything.
I'm probably the same. Probably the same. I say it most frequently.
Notice how neither of them will say it right now. That's okay.
What profession, other than your own, would you like to attempt?
Well, I'm going to try to attempt real estate. We'll see how that goes.
Maybe design. Some type of design job.
Like a home?
Maybe a home. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Look out, world.
Ideas.
All right, what kind of profession or job would you never like to do?
I would never want the responsibility of being a doctor or a surgeon. I know, like, you make a lot of money for it, but the responsibility in life and death, nope, don't want it.
Anything math related. I'm just not really a numbers person, so probably something in that arena, like an accountant.
And the last question, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You tried your best.
It's a good answer.
Welcome to the party.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a good one.
very good. Very good.
All right, well, thank you both.
Thank you,
I'd like
guys.
to thank everyone at home for
Thanks for
tuning
watching.
in. And we will see you next time on Spotlight on stage. Is that what it's called?
Good one,
Everyone.
Jord.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right, bye.